Tuesdays, we get local. Starting at 7:30, it's our local news podcast, Down Ballot, and then we swing over to Local Love starting at 9 p.m. Tune in early to see what's going on during the day, then stay locked in to find out what's happening in local music and whose bands are hitting the venues for the week. It's a whole night of news and music right in San Jose's backyard, starting at 7:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Check out our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.
In this world, accessible of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. I just can't understand it. Fucker defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Swims in a pool of blood and crying. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like cash ready to gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. The public benefit. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, so let the party spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Welcome, podcast listeners. You're tuned into the Plex. This show is a live show every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific, and beyond into red light. What you hear on the podcast is usually the 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific hour, but last week we put up the first 2 hours of the show. If you enjoyed last week's show more than usual or whatever, you can always go to patreon.com/echoplex, and patrons now at any level can get the audio capture of all our podcast recording sessions. If you're a Twitch user, you can also figure out a way to get it for free if I don't DJ after and have to delete the VOD. Anyway, I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr. And this is what the people want.
Police officers. I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Like your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Like your local police got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks. Don't hate the cops. 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 Don't hate the cops.
All right, everybody. So you've heard of the Great Replacement. Well, here's Marjorie the Gathering, and she's going to tell you about the Straight Replacement.
They just want you to think that all of a sudden the entire population is steadily turning gay or turning trans, just generation. Probably in about 4 or 5 generations, no one will be straight anymore. Everyone will be either gay or trans or non-conforming or whatever the list of 50 or 60 different options there are.
That sounds great. I'm with it. Let's do it. Let's do a straight replacement, everybody. Let's do it. I thought that was a good way to start the show just because it's so fucking crazy. Up next, we got some of these interviews with people at these Trump rallies are just amazing. I've got 2 interviews here. They're quick interviews, I guess. I'm not even sure that they're interviews. This first one's from The Good Liars. It's, Trump's the current president, but Biden's actually responsible for the gas prices.
You think that Trump is actually still in power right now?
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
So you think Biden is not the current president right now?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. Never believed it.
So Trump is the current president right now?
Yes, sir.
So are you mad at Trump for the high gas prices?
No. It's not Trump's fault.
Whose fault is it then?
It's Joe. He's got to set all this.
But Joe Biden, where's Joe Biden? He said he's not president.
He's not the president.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is,
So how could the gas prices be his fault if he's not president?
what you don't understand what they're trying to do. They have to wake up the dingleberries that are still asleep.
Okay.
Makes no fucking sense. I love it. This one also from The Good Liars. This next question is a fucking stumper, apparently.
Just keep it flying.
Keep it flying? And why do you want to keep it flying?
Why would anybody want to erase our heritage?
Well, some people would say that flag symbolizes racism. It symbolizes slavery, and they might have some valid points there.
That's their opinion. They're welcome to their opinion if they want it.
Are you pro-slavery or against slavery?
I have no comment, but thank you for the interview.
I'll give you one more chance. Pro or anti-slavery?
No comment.
I'll give you one more opportunity to say if you're pro or anti-slavery.
No comment.
All right. Well, there you have it. No comment on the if you're in favor of slavery or not.
Like you could just say, of course I'm against it, but no. The guy got mad at the interviewer, right? So he's like, oh, I'll end the interview now. Up next, we got the Proud Boys canceled by Donald Trump. With Proud Boy in his Proud Boy garb, trying to go to a Trump rally, and is told by security and event staff that they're not going to let him in.
Me right now that Proud Boys are not allowed at this Trump event.
I'm telling you right now, any sort of Proud Boys or QAnon insignia has to go. All right, you gotta go.
I'm gonna leave, but we were invited. We were invited to be here. I'm gonna walk out.
They probably didn't tell you to wear Proud Boys stuff.
We were.
Start walking out towards the doors, okay?
So why do I have to walk? Why do I have to walk?
Because the front doors are this direction, sir. That's why.
No, I mean why do Proud Boys have to walk?
Well, it's because you can't have any logos or insignia for this event, and the people hosting this event have.
You're kidding me, right? Because the Trump campaign gave us VIP tickets.
So you can turn your shirt inside out, or you can purchase another shirt.
This is really happening.
Or you can leave.
Yes, this is really happening.
Okay. So can I ask why Proud Boys aren't allowed here?
It's the logo, it's the shirt, and I don't make the rules.
Sorry.
But we're giving you some options. You can turn it.
Is there a reason why Proud Boys aren't allowed here?
It's a private event. They made the rules, man. That's all I could say.
But the actual campaign themselves gave us VIP tickets. So why can't
just going in circles?
The guy kept out. The problem is that it's bad optics for the Trump campaign if a bunch of people are wearing Proud Boys colors and QAnon fucking shirts. It's not that Trump doesn't like those people and isn't planning on using them to his advantage in the future if possible. It's that whoever's organizing the event knows that that's just real bad optics. That's it. They know it looks bad. Everybody's going to talk about what a bunch of pieces of shit were at the Trump rally if they fucking let people in with that with QAnon and fucking Proud Boys shit on. It's just the way it goes. I guess fucking sorry to have to be the one to tell you. I don't know. Just the way it goes. So we got a little schadenfreude this week. Former Trump advisor, Peter Navarro, he got arrested a couple days ago. And here he is on MSNBC with Ari Melber the day before he got arrested, just saying a bunch of dumb shit. Pretty great.
There's some people on the screen who have cooperated. Donald Trump's family, his chief lawyer in this effort, Rudy Giuliani, his chief spokesperson, over 700 people have cooperated with the committee. If you're right, and we hold open the possibility that legally you could be right, the case hasn't been decided, what do you say to these people? What do you think of their cooperation?
Well, first of all, 4 of the 6 are not senior White House officials, so they don't have any claim. They wouldn't have the same claim. I mean, Rudy might. I'm not sure what their claims would be. With respect to Kushner, I call him out in my own lawsuit. I thought it was cowardly what he did to go to the committee and undermine the executive privilege of other senior White House advisors. So that's what I would say about that.
Interesting. Okay. There's the other question that hangs over all of this, Peter, which is you have every right to prosecute your view of these events. You're clearly doing so.
Yes.
And we make time for you so people can hear from you. That's part of our job as journalists. A lot of your argument, what we just discussed in privilege, is you keep saying that you have the right not to talk. You're waging this legal battle not to talk to the committee, not to talk potentially to DOJ, although, as you said, TBD. So you're risking going potentially to jail, not to talk to them. But you're out here talking in public. You do realize these investigators can hear you when you talk on TV.
What we're talking about now, Ari, is the case law itself and the constitutionality of executive privilege, testimony immunity. A second key issue in the case is the separation of powers. This committee, this kangaroo committee, has clearly violated the separation of powers. They're not supposed to act as judge, jury, and executioner. They're only supposed to pursue a legislative function.
But you talked about the Green Bay sweep.
Let me give you a hypothetical.
But you talked about the Green Bay sweep. Why can't you talk to them about it if you talk about it in public?
That guy's an idiot. Well, if you can imagine this, he got himself arrested. Here's this is I believe probably from where is this from? I don't even know what network this is. The Eric Bowling show. They got Jason Miller on there, and they're talking about how Peter Navarro got arrested, and they don't like the method by which they arrested Peter Navarro, I guess.
Thoughts, Jason, before we get into some of the other stuff? What are your thoughts about what Peter had to say there?
Yeah, the first thing that really struck me was the fact that they went and arrested him, put him in handcuffs. I mean, this is Peter Navarro. He's an economist. Yeah. He's a PhD. You see that he's a very serious, very buttoned-up guy, and you're going to go throw him in handcuffs? Eric, how do you see this and not think this is purely just the witch hunt against anyone who had anything to do with President Trump or anyone who might have something to do with President Trump in the future?
They handcuffed him as part of the arrest, so it's obviously a political witch hunt. That's incredibly stupid. And here's Tucker Carlson's take on it, of course. Couldn't get away from Tucker Carlson.
So we should tell you that the FBI today arrested 72-year-old Peter Navarro, who's been on this show many times, worked for Donald Trump in the White House for 4 years, because he won't appear before the January 6th committee, a wholly illegitimate committee. They arrested him.
Yes.
In other words, Liz Cheney is okay with that. You can't just arrest people because you don't agree with their politics, but that's exactly what they're doing. We'll be on this in some detail next week.
He was charged with contempt of Congress for refusing to appear. The Congress has subpoena power. They can subpoena people. There's some exceptions to that, like executive privilege, but you can't really claim executive privilege anymore because your boss isn't the president anymore, and the current president isn't going to claim it for you. Well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you get arrested for contempt of Congress. It happens to everybody, really. It happens to everybody. So this next clip I'm going to play is an ad from Charles Booker. He is running for Senate, I believe, in Kentucky. Is that correct? Yeah, he's running for U.S. Senate in Kentucky. And it's pretty graphic, but it's a really good ad. And so I figure we're going to run it.
The pain of our past persists to this day. In Kentucky, like many states throughout the South, lynching was a tool of terror. It was used to kill hopes for freedom. It was used to kill my ancestors. Now, in a historic victory for our Commonwealth, I have become the first Black Kentuckian to receive the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. My opponent, the very person who compared expanded health care to slavery. The person who said he would have opposed the Civil Rights Act. The person who single-handedly blocked an anti-lynching act from being federal law. The choice couldn't be clearer. Do we move forward together, or do we let politicians like Rand Paul forever hold us back and drive us apart? In November, we will choose healing. We will choose Kentucky.
Probably not going to win, but man, what a good ad. And wouldn't it be great if that guy beat Rand Paul? Because fuck Rand Paul. Kentucky's a pretty solidly red state, so I don't think that guy is going to win. But fuck, it would be great if he did. That ad was really good. It was an incredibly good ad. It was graphic, and the imagery was a choice, but we got the point across, that's for sure. Here's Marjorie the Gathering again. She's going to talk about Christian nationalism, and she's going to tell you why it's fabulous, actually.
If Christian nationalism is something to be scared of, they're lying to you. And they're lying to you on purpose, because that is exactly the temperature change that is happening in America today, and they can't control it. They can't control it, and that's what terrifies them the most. You see, if we're going to label it Christian nationalism, this movement will actually be the movement that stops the school shootings. This will be the movement that stops the crime in our streets. This will be the movement that stops the sexual immorality and teaches children and brings them up in traditional families and loving homes. This will be the movement that protects kids' innocence and nurtures them into responsible adults that grow up to be successful moms and dads wanting to pursue a family of their own. This will be the movement that finally does something about our debt, because it's something that all of us should be ashamed of. It should have never happened. This will be the movement that cares about broken and lost communities that are always forgotten about. Christians should never forget about those people, and we don't. So while the media is going to lie about you and label Christian nationalism, and they're probably going to call it domestic terrorism, I'm going to tell you right now, they're the liars. And if anybody's a domestic terrorist, it's the radical left. They're the domestic terrorist. We could even say the Democrats are the domestic terrorists.
Why?
Because they funded them and they burned down our city streets and rioted in 2020.
No, they didn't burn down. You can't burn down a street.
We should put labels where they appropriately belong, not on Christians and not on people who love their country and want to take care of it.
There's a lot of retconning going on about 2020. There were very few buildings burned down. Then there a lot of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene like to act like the whole fucking country was like lit on fire in 2020. And that's just what didn't happen. We were kind of just starting to stream kind of every night, I guess, because the pandemic had me stuck at home. And we watched it. They didn't set buildings on fire everywhere. There weren't whole fucking city blocks on fire everywhere. This is just bullshit. Bullshit. They burned a couple police stations down. People did set fires. That happens. Like, whatever. I don't know. It's up to you whether or not you believe that was appropriate behavior based on the sets of circumstances. Then there was some indication that some of the fires were actually set by Boogaloo Boys and not by Black Lives Matter protesters. So it's all messy when a bunch of people get out in the street. Everything's messy. You don't know who's doing what. It's hard to attribute actions of individuals to any particular group, and it's just all real messy. And it's better not to make these sort of statements, but this is Marjorie Taylor Greene we're talking about here, so it's not like she cares if what she's saying is true. She represents one of the most gerrymandered districts in our country, and it is gerrymandered specifically so that someone like her can win. But I do hope her Democratic challenger takes her out. I don't think he will. He seems good too. He seems real good too, but I don't think he'll be able to take her out politically. So up next, we got Tomi Lahren. Tomi Lahren? I don't know. I guess she's back. She I don't know, maybe she took a few years off of being insufferable. Or maybe we just didn't notice that she was still being insufferable because she wasn't, didn't cross my feeds, didn't hit like Right Wing Watch and stuff like that. But here she is on the Piers Morgan show. I don't know what the fuck they're going to talk about, but I bet it's going to be a disaster and there's just going to be nobody to root for.
Yeah, I would say, look, I agree. There are a number of things at play here. Mental health is clearly a massive problem. These are evil, twisted people, and they all seem to be getting younger and younger, and it's incredibly worrying. I know that the Sandy Hook shooter, for example, and this shooter both had a weird obsession with Call of Duty, which is a video game where you play a lone shooter, right? Is there no connection between that and mental illness and the ready availability of guns? I'm sure there is a connection.
There's no, the video games are stupid. Some video games are stupid, but the connection with the video games is stupid because video games are an international phenomenon. It's not like we just play them here in America.
There are lots of things going on here, but I think the rest of the world looks at these incidents in America happening time and time again and just wonders whether anything will actually be done about guns themselves. And what do you think the answer is? I mean, when I asked the lady earlier, you know, this guy couldn't buy a beer till he was 21. Americans accept that. They accept that. They accept regulation when they drive cars, which can be dangerous. But why was he able to get a semi-automatic rifle?
Matt, may I just interject on one thing, Pierce? Because I do think it's a simple question.
Chris wants to jump in as well.
Okay, Chris, yeah.
I apologize. So we know that 100% of active shooters and mass killers share a common trait out of a number of common traits. The problem with that benchmark is me and you share at least one of those traits. Maybe we've been wronged in our whole life. Maybe we had whatever the problem is. So if we throw that metric out and we look at one statistic that the FBI has put out in 21 years, 47.3% of active shooters telegraph that they're going to be active shooters, and yet they still legally purchase firearms.
Right.
That's where I tell you, I agree.
I think the lack of. I think if I
conversation
could jump in, Chris, I think the lack of proper red flag spotting. You know, every single time stuff comes out about these shooters, you think, well, why didn't that get picked up? Why wasn't that shown on their background check when they go and get these guns legally? But Tommy, you wanted to answer before Chris stepped in there.
Yes.
When I agree with Chris wholeheartedly, we also need to address some of the cultural issues that we have in the United States of America. And it's not just gun culture. It's also a culture of fatherlessness. It's a culture of young people falling through the cracks. And I'm glad that Chris is talking about some of these traits, because you don't see young women doing this. You see young men doing this, young men who are incredibly angry, young men who often share that common thread of not having fathers or parents in the household that are raising them correctly. So we're going to have to address a whole litany of issues. It's not just the gun. I know it's easy to go after the weapon, but there are millions of Americans who own firearms and who own what they call assault weapons, and they don't go out and they don't become mass shooters. They use them for home defense and protection. So there's bigger issues to be discussed here besides just the weapon, important issues that are a little bit more challenging, and that's why I feel that so many fail to address them.
I don't know. I think she's going to try to pivot to the center. I think she's going to try to fill the space that Meghan McCain was filling. I think I just got from that hit that she's definitely not going to keep. She's going to try to pretend to be more reasonable going forward, I think. But we all remember, the internet will never forget Tomi Lahren and how crazy she was all the time. So this next clip is from Newsmax, and this is a Representative Mullen, and he's going to talk about how, because he's afraid of the DC Metro, I don't know, he's afraid of public transit. It's a weird clip.
That we're exposing our kids to, like Call of Duty or some of these very, very violent games that they all have mature warnings on it, supposed to be for an audience of 18 and over, yet everybody knows that little kids are playing these games.
But in every country in the world, that's happening.
Let's really talk about the true root of the problem that we're exposing our kids to, the mental illness part, and quit playing politics with it. The left, everybody knows, has been wanting to get rid of the Second Amendment. Why? Because people fear things that they don't understand. And that I can understand, but that doesn't mean that we should just ban everything. You know, I don't get on the metro in DC because I don't like it. I honestly don't. I kind of somewhat fear it because I got stuck on it once. That doesn't mean I want to.
Got stuck on it once. The train broke down once, and now I'm terrified of the DC Metro. What a weird thing to be a coward about. What a bizarre thing to be a coward about. The train broke down once. I was stuck on the train for 20 minutes, half an hour. I had to pee. It was fucking terrifying. I'm never getting on the train again. Get the fuck out of here.
Let's just educate ourselves about issues. Let's educate ourselves on what's going on in our neighborhoods. But for Kamala Harris and for President Biden to go out there and politicize this and take this strategy and try to make it for a political gain for them is absolutely absurd and ridiculous. And it should never have place here. But that's exactly where they're going to go. They're going to go past every other issue and go straight to gun control.
The DOJ is investigating.
Listen, what we got to deal with first is banning the DC Metro because it scares this fucking powerful man. What is, I don't understand why he brought up the DC Metro, that he's afraid of it. I think he's afraid of it because there's black people on it. Fucking public transit is oftentimes a stand-in for black people. That's what it is. So, this is one hell of a political ad here. There were two things this week about guns. I chose this one to run. I wasn't going to run both of them. The other one that David Hogg posted, I retweeted. You can go find it. It's also a hell of an ad from his group. But anyway, here's a political ad. It's called "I'm a Republican and I approve this message."
Ready? Aim.
I'm Kathleen Wall, and I approve this message.
It's time to fight back.
I'm Greg Gianforte. I approve this message.
Joni's gonna unload.
I'm Joni Ernst, and I approve this message.
I'm Matt Rosendale, and I approve this message.
Pro gun.
I'm Jake Beckett, and I approve this message.
I'm going to blow away the Democrats.
I believe in individual liberty and personal responsibility.
I'm Marjorie Green.
I'm Mike Collins, and I approve this message.
I'm Hutton Rhino. Care to join me? I'm Kay Daly.
I'm Brian Kemp. I own guns.
That all depends on the caliber of our candidates.
I'm Pamela Gorman, and I approve this message.
The Second Amendment is about hunting. I'm Dean Heller.
I'm Dan
I'm
Sullivan.
Catherine Templeton.
I'm Jim Lehman.
And I approve this message.
I'm Eric Greitens.
I'm Garris O'Donnell.
We're and then
Turn this country back to its former glory.
How to use a rifle.
Bill Ray, running for Congress.
I'm Dave McCormick.
My name is J.R. Majewski.
I'm Will Brooks.
I'm Hunter Hill.
I'm Max Miller.
I'm Lindsey Graham.
Lieutenant Governor Janice
I'm Doug
McGeehan.
Robinson.
And I approve this message. And I absolutely approve this message.
I'm Dr. Oz.
I'm Kat Kamek.
I'm Ron Gould.
And I approve this message.
For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry.
That ain't going to happen.
That's why the NRA endorsed me.
I'm Joe Manchin, and I approve this message.
They went after Joe Manchin, not a Republican. Yeah, somebody in chat said this is a sick country. This thing where the politicians put their love of guns on display and then use, I'm just going to say like violent rhetoric, exclusionary violent rhetoric about their political opponents. I think this, as much as anything, tells some people basically that it's okay for you to solve what you perceive your problems are by fucking opening fire somewhere. I think this is a huge part of the problem. And I don't think anybody wants to talk about, I don't think anybody wants to talk about it. The Democrats aren't going to fucking talk about it like that. That's the message too, that the Democrats need to be putting out there is like, hey, your messaging on this does not help and you need to stop it. I don't talk about it this way, and you don't know whether or not I have any guns because it's none of your fucking business. But the Democrats they're not going to do it. They won't do it. It's going to be independent outside groups that are doing it. And why won't the Democrats do it? They might pick up a few swing positions, or like they might get creamed in the midterms. So like, why not just let it all hang out and just go after all these people? Be like, this is your campaign ad. This isn't like, just you shooting this. You decided to put this in your campaign ads. Why are you putting this in your campaign ads? Like, why won't the Democrats do that? Why won't they do it? They won't do it. They just won't do it. Fucking useless. Fucking useless. You gotta vote for them though, because the other party's fucking the ones telling everybody to go shooting. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. I know that election's coming up in California. Everybody vote. I don't know, vote for Democrats, I guess. So here's Candace Taylor. I think she was running for the governor in Georgia. She got less than 4% of the votes, and she thinks it was rigged against her. She's going to pull essentially an Austin Bennett here. She got 3.4% of the vote.
I wanted y'all to know that I do not concede. I do not. And if the people who did this and cheated are watching, I do not concede. And the people of Georgia will not allow me to. I want you to feel inside of your gut a righteous anger for justice. I want you to pray specifically, I want you to pray for dark to be brought to light, for justice for the state of Georgia. And anyone who has helped contribute to this crime, to this travesty, anyone who's contributed to this, I want you to pray that they feel so guilty they come forward. God can do anything he wants to. So we pray for guilt.
Girl, you got 3.5% of the vote in a fucking Republican primary in Georgia, and you were talking about guns the whole time. You ran a bad race, I guess. I mean, I can't explain it any other way. She had the right message to get, maybe not win, but to get more than 3.5% of the vote, right? Like, I don't even think all the people who like Marjorie Taylor Greene voted for her. Up next, we got Crazy Eyes Michelle Bachmann with some campaign advice for up-and-coming people who might want to run for office. And, of course, it's form a fucking prayer committee.
Here's someone that's obviously in the audience that says, I'm running for the first time for Washington State House of Representatives, 21st District, Snohomish County. Any advice for me?
The very first thing that I did that I would advise you, every single time I ran for office, no matter what the office was, I always formed an intercessory prayer committee. Form that committee because this is a spiritual battle. It is not just a political battle. It's primarily a spiritual battle. You need to be covered. And that's why I'm saying about this issue that I brought up to you tonight about the president and the amendments. Start a prayer group. If it's you and one other friend, start a prayer group, 2 or more agreeing together. God honors those prayers. And if you, in your campaign, if it's just you and your spouse or you and somebody else, start your prayer committee because God will answer those prayers. And people who never should have won, win. When people give their election over to the Lord and he's the one who comes in, he becomes your campaign manager, you just can't believe it what he does for you. It's a wonderful way to run.
Here's hoping that the Republicans take her advice. Like every Republican ever takes her advice and just basically relies on the prayer group. Don't pound the pavement. Don't make any phone calls. Don't buy any political ads. Just the prayer group. Make sure you have the best prayer group. That way you can win. So up next, apparently the State Department hates Catholics. Who knew? Who's this little guy?
There used to be the Black Pride Month was really important. Black History Month, rather. Well, it was very, very important. And fine. It used to be that Mother's Day and Father's Day were really important. And
But have you ever tried to get a reservation for brunch on Mother's Day, Ben?
Them out of the water. I mean, this it's so important. How important is LGBTQIA plus minus divided by a sign ZMB?
Do you have to do this, Ben? Ben, this is sad. Do you have to do this?
Open command option month. How important is it? It's so important that we have put up a giant pride flag at the embassy in the Holy See. Because this is what tolerance requires. Tolerance requires that you exhibit your anti-Catholic bigotry.
What?
By taking a flag that symbolizes a grave sin in Catholic theology and putting it on your embassy.
Most American Catholics are in favor of gay rights, Ben. Not every religious person is the fucking evangelicals, dude.
In the Holy See, which is the Vatican. Now, make no mistake. There's no way the Biden administration, Biden State Department would ever do anything remotely like this in an Islamic country. They just wouldn't. And they wouldn't because, number one, Islamic countries would react rather badly to this. And so they are relying on the tolerance of the Vatican to not get super angry about this and to basically ignore it. But it does demonstrate the anti-Catholic.
Not for nothing. Also, American Muslims are mostly in favor of gay rights. They're way better than the evangelicals on it. Again, Ben. Come on, Ben.
Like bigotry, because of course the idea of doing this is to demonstrate that Catholic doctrine is just wrong. It's just wrong, and we are going to prove to you how wrong it is.
Most of the people working at the Vatican don't give a fuck about the flag or for gay rights too, Ben.
And this is what a lot of LGBTQIA plus minus divided by a sign weird flag.
You don't have to do that, Ben.
What it's about is not really the idea that people should be able to live how they choose in the United States. Everyone has pretty much said okay on that.
No, except you haven't really, because of the way, like, just this being like, oh, LGBTQIA divided by sign, open command, fucking whatever. Obviously, he has a Mac. Not for nothing, Apple heavily markets to the gay community. But yet, Ben, you're not actually like for gay rights. You're friends with Dave Rubin, and you've told Dave Rubin that his life is a sin or some shit. I think Dave Rubin's life is a sin too, but not because he's gay. It's just because of his behavior. And I don't believe in sin, actually. So, Kirk Cameron is up next. I got 2 clips of Kirk Cameron. He is apparently deciding that homeschooling is the new grift for him. Yeah, instead of, like, I don't know, going on weird road trips with Ken Ham.
For their country, they don't want to abandon their children to a system that by and large is doing more grooming for leftist politics and sexual chaos and racial confusion than they are doing any real educating about truth, beauty, and goodness.
Echoplex Media, sexual chaos and racial confusion, brought to you every night, actually, except Tuesday. Maybe we don't do so much of that on Tuesday. Tuesdays for the locals. Here's more of Kirk Cameron. Oops. This time he's on Newsmax talking about all the bad things about public education.
Absolutely. These tragedies that we're seeing around the country are just indications of how important it is that we get back to the founding principles of our nation, which are absolutely rooted in a deep religious faith, a love for God and a love for our neighbors. And everything from COVID to all of the things that are being pumped into our children's hearts and into their minds through much of the public education system is.
You mean like compulsory flag worship?
Downgrading of mental health and moral character of the young people in our nation. And that's why I'm so excited to see this great awakening that's taking place. I think it's perhaps one of the most underreported stories and most important. Parents are waking up and taking back our nation by doing it the way our founders told us, which is to train up your children in the principles that lead to blessing and freedom and prosperity. And they're pulling their kids.
Train up a child. I've heard that term before. That's that's like that quiverful movement shit, right?
Polluting their children, rotting their minds and their souls. And they're actually saying, wait a minute, we can teach our kids about the world. We can join together in rich community, pass on our faith and our values, develop children.
Yeah, not for nothing. That's some quiverful shit. Like that train up a child is like it was literally like excusing physical abuse for your children. That's one of the tenets of the quiverful movement, is that the father's in control and the father may use violence to enforce his control. And so that's the train up a child is one of the phrases they use, one of the little dog whistles they use. So interesting to hear Kirk Cameron putting that out there. I feel sorry for his kids. Well, Dave Rubin has a take on Pride Month, because of course he does.
Well, that's a good question, because everybody in the last 2 or 3 days, everybody's going full rainbow on Twitter. Mercedes-Benz, although they worked with the Nazis a long time ago, they're very rainbowy right now.
What the fuck? Like a really long, it was like almost 100 years ago, dude.
Every company's out there. Disney, of course, they're all very rainbowy. They love diversity. They love inclusion. They love tolerance, except they're not tolerant of other people, but they love tolerance of the people that they pretend to be tolerant. I don't know. I'm guessing SpaceX ain't going to throw up a rainbow. I'm guessing Tesla ain't going to throw up a rainbow. That would be nice.
That's because Elon Musk is a dick.
By the way, all of that being said, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And you idiots are actually you're making good people prejudice against gay people by jamming this shit down their throats. And I don't mean that metaphorically. Or I do mean it metaphorically.
He didn't even know if he meant it metaphorically or not. He's like, you're going to make people prejudice against gay people by changing your logo to a rainbow? You know, somebody's out there, like, I was actually pretty cool with my gay neighbor, but then fucking BMW put a rainbow up on Twitter, and now Now I actually hate my neighbor. Like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of here. People might be looking for an excuse to express their dislike of gay people, and they might use, oh, you're doing too much pride as a reason to do it. But the too much pride thing, I'm just not sure that it's going to cause people to just turn into a bigot who otherwise weren't one. Seems like maybe that person was already a bigot. So we got a clip of Jimmy Dore. He doesn't know that the person who he's talking about made a joke, and that's it. Let's see what's going on here.
I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, which same reason why I shouldn't have voted for Barack Obama, because Barack Obama was going to do the exact same shit that John McCain and Mitt Romney were going to do, but he was going to put you to sleep so you wouldn't mind. And that's exactly what happened. Barack Obama kicked 5.1 million people out of their houses while he bailed out the banks. Barack Obama took us from 2 wars to 7. Barack Obama tortured Chelsea Manning. Barack Obama built those cages, deported more Hispanics and Mexicans and Latin Americans than all the presidents combined since 1890. This is the shit that Barack Obama did. Barack Obama promised us a public option. We didn't get it. By the way, Joe Biden also promised us a public option. He was against Medicare for all, but for public option. Where is it? You ain't never getting it. In fact, you're going to lose Medicare by voting for this guy. But guys like this are going to keep telling you to do that because he gets paid when you vote for him. That's why. His wife...
God, you're stupid, David Sirota. This is clearly a joke. What do you mean? Nobody thinks Susan Sarandon did any of this. Like, Jimmy Dore, you're really stupid. David Sirota's joke wasn't great. Like, it's not a good joke. It's not funny. It's still an attempt at a joke. God, you're so stupid.
Paid when Democrats stay in power. His wife is an elected Democrat. Of course. So if you keep listening to guys like this who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep you inside the Democratic Party.
How much money are you making a year, Jimmy? And what are you telling people?
You're going to keep being poorer and broker. Or if you listen to Shama Sawant, who actually has integrity, unlike this guy, she'll tell you the truth, unlike this guy. And the truth is, the road for progressives inside the Democratic Party leads to a graveyard and less Medicare, less Social Security, more war, and lower wages. That's what voting for this fucking guy does. And this guy's telling you that because he makes money off it and doesn't give a shit how fucking broken you are, because he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every fucking year off of Bernie Sanders' campaign, off of all kinds of bullshit that you have no idea about, and he'll never feel the pain of this Medicare cut. He'll never feel the pain of your Social Security cut. He doesn't give a shit if we have a $15 minimum wage or not. He'll never feel the pain of any of it, which is why he's comfortable enough to tell you to keep voting and doing the exact same thing. He's telling you to punch yourself in your fucking face. That's what they're telling you.
Jimmy, you're stupid. You just don't even know. You just couldn't even tell that was a joke. Just because it wasn't funny doesn't mean you can't tell that it was clearly like in jest or like tongue in cheek or whatever, right? Fucking idiot. Also, he just like freaked out. I don't know, I don't even know what his end game is or like what strategy he would like to see play out. Possibly because he doesn't ever say. I mean, it seems like he just wants you and me to stop voting for Democrats. But then what? Do we go vote for Andrew Yang's weird fucking fake political party? Go vote for the Greens so that they can stop the 5G and the chemtrails? Vote for libertarians so they can like lower the age of consent? Like what do we do? You just got to fucking vote. You got to vote like strategically. And then if you're politically active, then be politically active between the elections. Make sure you're involved locally and do what you can. I don't know what else I don't know what else people can do. So up next, we got Helen Staniland and Helen Joyce, two Helens. I believe they're both TERFs, and they're just going to say the quiet part out loud about their position as TERFs, actually.
See, I don't think that I think that for quite a while now, this has not been about consciousness raising. That's been irrelevant. That was important 2 or 3 years ago when there weren't enough people, but there've been enough people to be critical mass, to be funding the crowdfunders, to be writing letters to MPs, all that sort of thing, to have a movement, to have support for women and men, of course. I mean, there's people like Graham, of course, as well, who've got their necks stuck out on this. We can't win this by saying, there's 60x million people in this country and we've got to persuade all of them or a great majority of them. We've got to get through to the decision makers. And in the meantime, while we're trying to get through to the decision makers, we have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for 2 reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, a huge problem to a sane world. Like if you've got people that, and whether they're transitioned, whether they're happily transitioned, whether they're unhappily transitioned, whether they're detransitioned, if you've got people who've dissociated from their sex in some way, every one of those people is someone who needs special accommodation in a sane world where we re-acknowledge the truth of sex. And I mean, the people who've been damaged by it, the children who've been put through this, those people deserve every accommodation we can possibly make. But every one of them is a difficulty.
Yikes. That was just purely exclusionary language. They want to stop people from transitioning. They also said that all the people, all the trans people, all the people who believe they might be trans, every one of them is damaged and they're bad for a sane world. That's just the most fucking mask off kind of rhetoric about trans people you're ever going to get. These people, they keep going farther and farther and farther. At first it was like, oh, we just don't like who we say are men or whatever in women's spaces. Now they're telling you that they just don't want you to be trans at all. We want to reduce the number of people who transition. And she didn't say why. I mean, we know why. They don't like trans people and they want less of them. And they it seems like they want people who are trans or maybe trans or non-binary or people who are interested in transitioning. They want those people gone, essentially. They just don't want it. They just don't want it around. And it's disgusting. And you can't, what are you going to do? You can kick them off. I mean, they're in the UK. I guess kick them all off the island, but that's that's some shit, right? Can't really do that because even like the most conservative politicians probably aren't going to get behind that, at least not in the UK. So I don't know what to tell Helen here. I just know that the reason I found this is because Helen Joyce was like threatening to sue people and shit who were talking about this. They were like, hey, this is like really just full on like eliminationist language. And this woman wants to eliminate trans people. She just said it. And she was running around telling everybody who was saying that to watch out because they might get sued. And so I had to look up what she had said. And yeah, this is eliminationist language. This is dehumanizing. This is denying people their identity and saying that they're bad for a sane society just because you don't like them, Helen. Monster. Fucking monsters. So here's the GOP nominee for Secretary of State in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is a fairly safe blue state, so this person isn't going to win. Before I play this is pretty graphic, like what she says, and it's, I don't know. It's pretty graphic.
You can't just sit and go, oh, that's terrible. Maybe somebody else will take care of it. Oh, that's not so nice. Well, I don't think it's nice when they're telling your 5-year-old that he can go and suck another 5-year-old's dick. Do you? This is what they're doing.
No, this is not what they're doing, and you're just horrible. Nobody's doing that. Yikes, lady. Come on. Come on. Well, we finally got to our palate cleanser. She's the her name is Rayla Campbell. She is the Massachusetts GOP nominee for Secretary of State. So everybody in Massachusetts, get out there and vote for anybody but her. Because she weird. Not only is she a bigot, but she weird. Her bigotry is like super weird. So here's our palate cleanser. Unfortunately, podcast listeners, you're not really going to be able to hear this. And we're going to watch it several times. This is, well, viewers, you'll see. There's no audio, which is weird. But if in case you couldn't see it, we'll run it again here. Ted Cruz inhaled a fly and then chased it with his bottle of water. So that could be tricky video editing. I don't know. But I want to believe in the Ted Cruz fly. I just want to believe in the Ted Cruz fly. So, came in right in time here. Looks like we got 2 more clips and about 5 minutes left till we go under red light. So that's good. We got Bo Burnham did a video, an audio and video, where he just kind of summarized every Joe Rogan podcast, and it's actually pretty great.
PC culture, man, it's fucking exhausting, right, bro.
It's fucking out of control.
Exhausting. It's just our culture has been taken over by a radical group of SJW feminist freaks, who hate comedians.
They hate us.
Who are anti-comedy and anti-joke.
Totally.
And it's gotten to the point where you can't say anything. No, literally, 100% you cannot say anything.
Literally,
I will try to say something right now.
Yeah.
Watch. Yeah, and he is trying, and it's unbelievable because we've fallen so far from the heyday of comedy.
So depressing, dude.
When Tony the Pancake was headlining the Comedy Store,
Salami Williams
on a Tuesday night,
they would
they'd just fucking murder, just fucking absolute, just crushing, dude. And it sucks because these people they don't understand comedy.
Of course not.
We're joking.
It is not that serious, guys.
Okay, it's not that serious.
Joking around.
And also,
all right?
we as comedians are philosophers.
Yes,
all right,
dude.
Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor. We hold up a mirror, history-changing cultural figures, and you need to recognize that. All right,
Man Stuff Stick Spray.
Yeah, of course it is. We're artists. It's an art form, and it's important because it's one of the only art forms that is not gay. No, no, we can't say that, but but gay, but not. Now they're going to come after us, right? We're going to get canceled for saying this.
You homophobes.
We're not being homophobic.
Okay, no, it's
when we say that.
It's gay is just
if there was another
gay.
word that meant gay that wasn't gay, we'd use that. But there isn't one. But there isn't. So so it's really just a war on comedy that I realized. I was having a conversation with my sparring partner.
Nice,
and I realized that the war on comedy is.
That guy is so funny. Like He's done a couple of these. Bo Burnham has done a couple of these where he kind of pokes a little fun at the format of Joe Rogan's podcast, and they've all been pretty funny and pretty kind of spot on with the way they kind of make. He kind of pokes fun at the idea that the comedians on Rogan they want to be the hero and the fucking victim at the same time. When it's funny enough that the job of a comedian is to be funny. They're not Joan of Arc. They're the jester. So we're going to end the podcast with little Nicky Fuentes. He's going to talk about Star Wars.
Women are killing everything. Women, it's not even just the Jews, man. It's women. It's women. Take it easy, Ben Shapiro. Take it easy. I am way more misogynistic than I am anti-Semitic. All right, so cool your jets. All these people are like, he's motivated by anti-Semitism. It's like, if you want to know the truth, I'm really motivated by misogyny. Because women are wrecking Star Wars. They are raping Star Wars. It'd be if they canceled Star Wars, they would have killed it. If they were to just say, we're not making Star Wars anymore, they would have killed it. But they're not. They're digging up Star Wars corpse, and they're having sex with the corpse.
Whoa, that's weird.
They're digging up the corpse of Star Wars, and they're dragging it to your childhood home, and they're cutting its head off and shitting down its throat and raping it. And
I mean, really, Nikki?
That's what women are doing to us. That's what women are doing to men and boys. Forget about the globalists replacing us in our own country with immigrants. That's really besides the point. Women women have exhumed the corpse of Han Solo. They have dragged it into your living room in your childhood home under the Christmas tree, and they're cutting his head off and shitting down his throat and raping him, and they're laughing while they do it. And they're saying, in your face.
I know, like, this is fucking dangerous shit, but, like, it's really hard to take this seriously.
He's a pussy. Luke Skywalker's a pussy. Han Solo sucks. That's what they're saying. Straight up. It's pure evil. And it's far worse than anything any other group is doing. I would rather get mugged by a black guy than have them ruin Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wait, what?
This black Sith Inquisitor, I've so had it, man. If I wasn't racist before, yeah, this just made me racist. If I didn't have a bone to pick with the black race before, you know, this black Sith Inquisitor, she's going to do it for me. She's going to do it for me.
So he mad that there's a black lady in Star Wars. I didn't know it was a black lady until the end. Now I know he mad at the black lady in Star Wars. That's it. Fucking weirdo. Anyway, I guess that's the show. It was what it was. It's the Professor Q used to call it. It's the 60-minute panic attack, I think Professor Q was calling the Sunday show, the podcast version. That's probably right. So we got a bunch of other shows. We have a new one. Everybody check out How the Tech Are You? That's available on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcatcher. Check out our other shows too. You can find it all at echoplexmedia.com/podcasts. And if you like what we're doing here and you don't like Twitch and don't want to join us there, you can support the project at patreon.com/echoplex. Live listeners, live viewers, hang out. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play a song and we'll be back with Red Light. I got a lot of cool stuff for Red Light. And I'm a little tired, but we'll see. Maybe we'll be up late tonight.
Try and be
Every Saturday is Cat Day on Echoplex Media, and not only are we posting fucking cats, we invite all content creators to join our open panel. Visit echoplexmedia.com/panel to learn how to join. Every third Saturday is Operation Catterday, where we cover this week and last year and play the best clips from the cast of conspiracy characters that Now Space has learned to loathe. The show starts at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. Find our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.